Quick scenario for you. Imagine that this zombie is a hunter with an axe. You just saw that he was hit with the sparks, leaving him with 1 HP. Maybe you're worried about a trade, so you gamble on a risky shot. After all you need is 1 pellet to hit anywhere. Looks like luck wasn't on your side this time. But then you begin to wonder, what were your odds of hitting them to begin with? 80%? 50? 10? Would you believe 0%? Wait, 0%? How is that possible? I mean, sure, it's not likely, but they're clearly within the reticle. The pellets can land anywhere in that area, right? That's a reasonable assumption. In pretty much every game I can think of, the reticle defines the cone of fire of the pellets. Put another way, the player's field of view is a frustum, a chopped-off pyramid. A circle drawn onto that plane would be a cross-section of the cone of fire from the origin point. For reasons I don't honestly understand, Hunt does not follow this logic. In Hunt Showdown, this is not the cone of fire. This is. Some of you may already have known this, but given the discussions I've seen, and also the fact that the biggest videos on the mechanics of shotguns in Hunt don't ever mention this, I suspect it's a surprise to many of you. It certainly was for me, but testing has consistently shown that not only is this true, but the disparity is huge.
That's quite big.
Before we go any further, let's look at another example. Firing right now is not going to hit this hunter up front with any pellets. This guy behind her, however...
I think I just got both of them, holy shit.
And now for the good stuff. A comparison of the spread to reticle mismatch for all shotguns. To collect this data, I simply went to Devant Ranch in training mode and fired at a wall over and over again. I fired at 6 and 12 meters respectively, measured by counting footsteps. One difficulty was making sure the shots were realigned perfectly each time, which I think did introduce a bit of error. I later realized I could have used a ping, but I didn't think of that at the time. However, the patterns were usually pretty apparent, so I think this is very close. As you can see, the mismatch is pretty big for some of these. In fact, doing some rough calculations to compare the area of each circle, I found that the shotgun that most closely matches spread to reticle size, the LeMat, still only hits about 69 to 70% of the reticle's area. For most other shotguns, it's closer to 30 to 40 to maybe 50%, and for some, such as the Romero hand cannon, it dips as low as 10%. As you may have noticed, this means there's not a consistent ratio of mismatch across the shotguns, which suggests that whatever variable or variables are used to draw the reticle are not the same ones used to calculate the actual spread of the shotguns. Testing also suggests a similar pattern exists for the different ammo variants, though I wasn't going to tackle that in this particular video. It is worth noting that flechettes do have a tighter spread, and that penny shot comes very close to matching the actual reticle area, which is very important because that means not only are you shooting a fraction of the pellets, but they're shooting even more widely relative to buckshot than the reticle already suggests. So what does this mean for you, a humble hunter in the bayou? Shotguns are actually more consistent than they might seem. They also just leave less room for error. Perhaps the biggest takeaway is that it's not just very important, but critical, that your target is dead center in the crosshair, ideally at chest or gut height. Being off center by the smallest amount doesn't just mean missed pellets, it means that a greater proportion of those that do hit are only getting arm and leg multipliers. Conversely, because the spread actually is fairly tight, you can rack up a lot of chest multiplier damage from surprisingly far away as long as you aim. Another key takeaway is that these sawed-off variants actually don't differ all that much in terms of accuracy from the base shotguns. The biggest thing limiting them is the damage drop-off differences. and they don't have any other advantages in terms of spread. Next, shotguns at range are actually surprisingly effective and consistent, if you bullseye your target. RNG still matters, but within their effective range probably matters much, much less than shot placement. Finally, aiming down sights with shotguns is not worthless. ADS does trade away peripheral vision and movement speed, but in some cases, for some players, that can help you center them in the reticle, and that's the most reliable way to kill somebody with one shot.
Got him.
I'd recommend a case-by-case basis, at least until you are really good with those flicks.
Got him.
Anyway, for those of you this was news to, I hope this helps you out in the bayou. This is a strange quirk that's pretty much unique to Hunt. It doesn't change anything about how good shotguns actually are, but it can certainly be a lot less frustrating once you know the actual margin of error that you're working with. Happy hunting.